The European draws are here. Welcome back to Fog Football, Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League. Last 16 and beyond has been confirmed. So we're just going to use the UEFA website. I feel like they've got the neatest, view of it, the bracket view. So let's begin, shall we, with the Champions League. Obviously, Celtic went out against Bayern Munich, but there is still three English clubs remaining, so let's talk about them and go into detail with that one, because of course Man City crashed out as well. So Arsenal taking on PSV here. I think Arsenal will beat PSV. PSV were pretty good against Juventus over two legs, but I think Arsenal will be too strong for them. But here, the next game, a Madrid derby, and you know what? I'm not saying this like it's not rated, but I think it's one of the more underrated derbies in world football. I do, it's easy to brush it under the carpet because of the size of Madrid, and obviously they do. I mean, they don't, they dwarf Atletico, but it's not quite like it's not quite Barcelona, Espanyol, for example. The Esplan fall vacation, all that stuff. But I do like watching the Madrid derby. I do. I have to admit, the Champions League finals in the past and other games have been great, absolutely great. So I'm looking forward to that. But crucially, folks, that means Arsenal, if they beat PSV, get the winner of that. And everyone knows Real Madrid are just absolute weapons when it comes to this Champions League, man. They just beat everybody. So really looking forward to those sets of games and then the quarters. But moving into potentially tastier, depends what way you look at it, round the 16. So PSG against Liverpool. PSG off the back of a 10-0 win on aggregate against Brest. Brest's arse folded like a pair of diddies. But I would expect Liverpool to go through. But more interestingly is that if Aston Villa get past Club Brugge, which, by the way, folks, is no given because Club Brugge have been very good in this competition, then we could potentially get in, a Battle of England. And I think in the past you associate like battles of England between Liverpool and Chelsea back in the 2000s. Obviously the Champions League final between Chelsea and United. We've had ones in more recent future past, obviously with City. City and Liverpool played each other in the Champions League, didn't they? We also had Tottenham against City, which was a good one. And then we had a Tottenham and Liverpool final, which was a bit shite. And then obviously City and Chelsea played each other in the final, which is a bit shite. But sometimes there seems to be no middle ground. It's either like you get a really good game between English sides or a stinking one. So Aston Villa Liverpool, Villa Park Villa Park and Anfield Villa Park in a quarter final in the Champions League, that would be special. But here they've got to get past Club Brugge, so no disrespect to them. But then of course, for example, if Arsenal did beat Madrid, one of the Madrid clubs after beating PSV, you'd be looking at another potential English semi-final. But at the flip side of that, if Aston Villa beat Liverpool, they're probably taking on Real Madrid. But here, there's so many possibilities here. Arsenal obviously never won a Champions League. If they got past the quarters and they were taking on like an English club like Villa, you would have to say what an opportunity for Arsenal to get into a Champions League, semi-final and then into a final. It's crazy. But moving into the bottom four here, obviously, I'd say it's a slightly weaker side of the draw. Benfica, Barca, I'd expect Barca to win, but here, it'll be a great game, just like the 5-4. Dortmund against Lille, I expect Dortmund to go through, but Lille were top 8. Bayern Munich against Leverkusen. And I ain't downplaying what Celtic did, but I would expect Leverkusen to beat Bayern Munich over two legs. But what I would say is, Bayern Munich are top of the Bundesliga, and maybe you could argue the fact they got another German team might go in their favour. But they recently played in the Bundesliga, and Bayer Leverkusen were much better, but I believe it ended in a draw, didn't it? So, Feyenoord against Inter. They've already put out their Milan rivals, so why can't they put out Inter? That will be the question being asked. And then, of course, you've got those not as interesting. I mean, I guess Barca, Dortmund, and then maybe like Bayern Munich against Inter in there. So yeah, we could get a Barcelona Real Madrid Champions League final. When was the last time we had that? But here, Champions League's looking good. I think this format's delivering. Into Europa League, right? I've already talked about this when I did the live stream earlier on my channel, but let's look at this side of the draw. So AZ Alkmaar against Tottenham. Here, I think Ange has got a relatively easy side of the draw till the final. And that's not me putting pressure on him, but I do feel like with Ange, he needs to win this Europa League. Not to keep his job, but to like shut up the pundits down south and to also get Champions League football for Tottenham and to win a trophy for Tottenham. God, they don't know what a trophy is. You know, Ace of Alkmaar, Tottenham should win that, right? Ajax or Frankfurt, Ajax are nowhere near what they used to be. And Frankfurt are still good, as I know. I still expect Tottenham to beat them. And then that leaves you into a semi-final against Bodo Glimt, Olympiacos, Plzeň, Lazio. Realistically, your money would be on Lazio. And here, it'd be a tough game, but over 2 legs, Tottenham, you know, for Ange's sake, you'd maybe expect them to have more injuries back and people back for that. But it's a real opportunity. This is a very open Europa League for someone to win it. You know, you're looking at 2 English clubs that are nowhere near it in the league, so they have to go all out in this competition. I'm not too sure about, the likes of Frankfurt, Ajax, and like Lazio, how they're doing in their leagues, but I'm going to assume they're not near the top of it, like the tippy top, so they'll want another route into the Champions League. I think Ajax will probably be getting into the champ, but then Ajax have been shite for a few years. But this side of the draw, looking tasty. And what I've got a bit, and this is the thing, right? Looking ahead here, but it's the only trophy Rangers can win, so let me dream. I look at the 8 teams here and I think, if we got any of them in the final, I wouldn't think, oh, we're beat. It's not like the Champions League where if we got Real Madrid, I'd be like, right, there is no hope. I look at this and think, yeah, why not? Why not? Because it's not a good Ajax team. I mean, the only team I would kind of fear would be Lazio, but I would still think over one game we could give it a real good go. And then into Rangers' side of the draw. So Jose Mourinho is coming to Ibrox. Looking forward to that game. Looking forward to the first leg as well, which of course is over in Turkey. So what are we making of this, folks? What are we making of this? This is the only Scottish team that we've got left in European competition. Can Rangers get into the quarterfinals? I think it'll be tough, but I'm looking forward to it nonetheless. I think there's a good opportunity Rangers can, but if they do, folks, they will be taking on Roma or Athletic Bilbao in the quarters, and that is tough, right? There is no two ways about it. But as I said earlier, I don't think there's any teams in this Europa League that. I mean, I'm not saying there's no teams that can blow us away, right? Because Lyon beat us 4-1, and that's, it wasn't, it's not a complete annihilation, but we did get battered at the same time. But I don't think there's any teams that I'd be going into across 2 legs thinking we've no chance. And I think that's a good thing, obviously, because you don't want to be going into games thinking you've no chance. But it's all about how players step up. And the fact of the matter is this, Rangers have been good in Europe this season. Domestically, we've been awful. I would expect us to beat Fenerbahce. Even if we lost 2-1, or like 3-2 or 1-0 over in Turkey, I would expect us to have more than enough to give it a good go at Ibrox and at least take it to extra time and hopefully win in some capacity. So looking forward to it. But we would take on one of those guys. Moving into the other games, you've got FCSB against Lyon. You'd expect Lyon to go through. And then the other British club here, the other English club, we've got Sociedad taking on Man United. And what this means for Rangers is that if we are getting to the final, we might need to beat Man United over 2 legs. But you know what? Give me Man United over 2 legs. We've shown at Old Trafford that we are more than good enough to get a result. We should have drew it, right? We had the chances to win it. We are, a bruised and battered team. Factor in an Ibrox leg. Give me Man United. But before we get to Man United, we're going to have to see off Fenerbahce, Roma, and Athletic Bilbao, or any of them, And I think if we got to the semi and it was against United, or even Lyon, who beat us 4-1, I would think, well, you know what? We've beat the likes of Fenerbahce, we've beat either Roma or Bilbao. That's enough confidence for me to give us hope. And I look back at the 2022 run, and even though our team is much worse than that team, Dortmund and Leipzig for me are levels above most of these teams, if not all of them at that time. So that's what I will say. But yeah, that is your Europa League here. I'm still hypotheticals. I'm talking about quarters, semis, finals. Rangers have got to get past Fenerbahce first, folks. Then into the Conference League, which just finished. So they don't have it available in bracket format, but you got Betis against Vitoria, Filja Gielka against Cercle Bruges, Celje against Lugano, Panathinaikos against Fiorentina, Borac versus Rapid, Pavos versus Dujardin, Molde versus Legia Warsaw, and Copenhagen against Chelsea. So Chelsea have got a pretty tough draw there, but you would still expect them to advance. As for Molde, that's who Shamrock Rovers could have had. So um, I'm going. I'm not really too. Does it mean what does the quarterfinals mean there and the semi-finals? Does that mean Molde and Legia Warsaw get the winners of Copenhagen and Chelsea? I'm not too sure. Time will have to tell, folks. Anyway, that is the draw. Till next time. Peace.